No, they are doing it directly with Afghanistan. Basically, if I put it with the Afghan Taliban and of course the Haqqani. As on date,
And the,
Pakistan is out. Why? Because they have realized, the Americans have realized, after all, where was Bin Laden? And they are the epitome of terrorism in the world. And
yeah.
therefore, today, Americans have really realized that the whole problem is Pakistan.
Welcome to Strat News Global. You're on the GIST program, and I am Surya Gangadharan. My guest for the show is Major General Sanjay Meston, retired, of course. He was former defense attache at India's embassy in Kabul from 2011 to 2014. General Meston, welcome. We are meeting after
Thank
a
you.
long time.
Thank you, Surya. Good
So
afternoon.
I'm going to give a short background as to why we're going to talk to General Meston in the context of Afghanistan. Now, as you're aware, President Trump has issued, hasn't spared even benighted Afghanistan the tariffs that he's announced on Liberation Day. So 10% on the meager export basket. And there's also been talk from Trump about some kind of a return to Afghanistan. He's talked of getting back the military hardware the US left behind in Afghanistan when it fled in 2021. We understand there have been some discussions between the the Taliban, and the US. We're going to try and delve deeper into this, and General Meston is the man, given his experience of Afghanistan and the fact that he's been in touch with what's been going on there. General Meston, seriously, would the US want to, would the US seriously be contemplating a return to Afghanistan?
Surya, absolutely. The US is contemplating a return to Afghanistan, but the issue is return in what manner? There will be no boots on the ground, but definitely they want to have the US embassy functioning back in Kabul and all the other consulates in various provinces, and that is their aim. Of course, how they will do it and why they will do it, firstly, I'll come to how they will do it. As you are aware, there are some peace talks going on. Secret talks are going on between the United States and Taliban in Doha, Qatar. And the basic intent, nothing is in public domain, but I presume the intent is that there would be some kind of negotiations, but the US interest would be to insist on Taliban to have a broad-based government. As of now, the Taliban government basically consists of the Kandhari, the Taliban, and of course the
Yeah.
Haqqani. And that is how you have seen that on Sirajuddin Haqqani and his two associates, the 10 million bounty has been removed. So this has also
Yeah.
got some hearing. So the
Mhm.
intent is to have a government where some people from the Afghan side, who are literate, who have some academic background, who have administrative knowledge, some of these people can be brought into this broad composition of the government. Maybe one odd person of the previous government, if it is acceptable to both the sides,
Mhm.
that may be a rarity, but definitely some new faces who are not Taliban fighters or Haqqani fighters. So a broad-based government is what perhaps the US is wanting. And Afghan Taliban also realizes that it is into their national interest because as on date, no one has recognized them except, of course, Russia, Iran, and China. They have not recognized them, but they have their ambassadors based in Kabul. And
Yeah.
similarly, the Taliban embassies are functioning in these countries. So this is how what they are looking for. Now we can discuss, Surya, as to why this soft peddling with Taliban by the United States, that why is very, very important.
Yeah.
In case you permit me, I can state
Yeah,
that also.
please, please. Yes, yes.
Yeah, Surya, now why? If you see President Trump's statement since taking over and his focus, I think his focus is very, very clear. One focus is that America should continue to be the unipolar power in the world, and as
Mhm.
on date, it is only threatened by China. And historically, earlier it was the rise of Japan, Germany, and of course Soviet Union, and all of them have been relegated by the United States strategy into, I would say, where they stand today. Now the new emerging power, both economically and military, is China. And therefore, the American strategy is to retain its unipolarity as the number one power of the world. And second of its major interest is also, if you see all the statements, whether it is Greenland, whether it is alignment now with Russia in terms of finishing of the war in
Yeah.
Ukraine, the interest is what? The rare earth, critical rare earth minerals.
Yeah.
Now, these two are the focus, and both, unfortunately or fortunately, have an economic bent of mind. And therefore, the strategy of America is to undermine or counter the influence of China anywhere in the world. You have seen it in Panama Canal, what has
Yeah.
happened. Greenland, again, the strategy is the Americans should be there, of course, for the critical minerals also. But more than that, they do not want any Chinese influence there, and this is the strategy they are following. And of course, the tariffs what he's announced with China, total 54%, is again to hit China very very hard, and put them in such a quandary that the world trade suffers and China suffers. Of course, United States is also going to suffer, but now I think it is not going to be an international free trade kind of a thing. It is going to be more of bilateral, of
Mhm.
which we are seeing India and United States are having those kind of talks, bilateral talks. So I think there is a lot of change. So overall strategy is to counter or undermine the Chinese influence anywhere. And now, since we come to Afghanistan, also in Afghanistan, and also Afghanistan has supposedly got about 4.1 to 3.1 trillion dollars worth of mineral reserves, in which there are rare earth minerals, which China today has a lobby in their own country, because there are eight rare earth minerals which perhaps only China has. So that
Mhm.
advantage they have. So I think Afghanistan also has this great potential, like Ukraine, like Greenland, and this is what America is looking for. So American presence is going to be in Afghanistan. I again reiterate, in the form of opening embassies, and once that is done, diplomatic recognition, etc., is done, and they recognize the Taliban in, I told you, a broader manner, and thereafter, of course, technical know-how and all these skills of drilling. You have heard Trump talking about drilling in his own
Yeah.
country. I think they are going to do that also. So this is the larger strategic interest of United States in Afghanistan.
Are the Americans doing this directly with the Taliban or is it through Pakistan?
No, they are doing it directly with Afghanistan. Basically, if I put it with the Afghan Taliban and of course the Haqqani. As on date,
And the,
Pakistan is out. Why? Because they have realized, the Americans have realized, after all, where was Bin Laden? And they are the epitome of terrorism in the world. And
yeah.
therefore, today, Americans have really realized that the whole problem is Pakistan. However, the America was constrained during the period of 2001 to 2021. Reason being because their logistics were totally dependent on through Pakistan, and that is why they were dependent on Pakistan. So I'm very, very clear, Pakistan is not going to be in the strategic radar. Definitely no. Now it is between Taliban and America. And the intent is, of course, to undermine the Chinese influence and also do the mining of the rare earth minerals.
Mhm.
So
So, but not
Pakistan,
boot. This should not be boots on the ground. It would
no,
be.
no, no, no. Definitely not boots on the ground. See, if you have seen President Trump's statement, whether it is Ukraine, he has not talked about American troops anywhere. Even
Yeah.
in Israel, Gaza, he has not talked about American troops. The dirty work he wants to do in Gaza, he wants it to be done by the Israelis. But
Mhm.
definitely, they do not want any American boots on ground anywhere in the world. So he wants to achieve his strategic objectives through economic warfare. And of course, the military power gives him the added advantage, because today Trump has been able to make all these noises because of two things. One is as a military power it is, and secondly, the economic power. So that is what
Mhm.
has, emboldened President Trump to make such statements and take these policies. So the lesson learned for all nations, including India, is to be an economic power, and besides that, to be also a military power, which China is today going to. China has already planned up to 2050 that it will be a great military power and a great economic power. And this is where America's strategic aims are, to undermine Chinese this credibility in every manner. And India's role perhaps may come into this, Surya.
Hmm. So the American return to Kabul, even minus troops or whatever, in a sense that again reflects what we've always wanted, isn't it? We wanted the Americans to stay on, and now
Very
that they are
true.
coming back, it should suit us admirably.
Yeah, very true. We always see, let me tell you, when I was there in the Indian embassy, I realized that, we were able to functioning very smoothly because we were, of course, in the green zone. Our security was taken care by the Americans, or basically the International Security Assistance Force. So that was a basic advantage. And once
Mhm.
Taliban took over, you are aware, we closed down our embassy, and today we are just, I would say, in a skeleton form, we are functioning there. So because we have always been threatened by Haqqani and the Pakistan ISI, now the situation has changed. Today, Taliban is having, and of course, the advantage is now you see the Baluch Liberation Army. Now
Yeah.
they have become one, and they and TTP also, and they are fighting the Pakistan ISI and the Pakistan Army. So things have taken a great turn, better for India, and it is going to be much better for India if the Americans are there with a proper embassy there, with other consulates over there, and doing mining, etc. And we will also talk about what should India do now. So I think it is favorable situation for India. We
Hmm.
have a limitations. We'll discuss those limitations in terms of our connectivity, etc. But there is a solution in everything. But as on date, if the Americans come there, which I am quite sure they're going to come, there is no doubt. Because China has, as on date, let me tell you, Surya, they have doing lot of mining in lot of areas. You are aware about the iron ore mines, the copper mines,
Yeah.
and of
Yeah.
course the Amu Darya basin. They are having joint ventures with Taliban. So they are, and they are also looking for these connectivity through the Wakhan corridor. There is some kind of connectivity. Kacha road has been made up to the Wakajir Pass, and
Yeah.
China is looking for direct connectivity through Wakhan corridor to Afghanistan and also through the Sipek, maybe towards Kabul. They were talking even that time about a train connectivity directly from Peshawar to Kabul. So
Hmm.
India today has to do something lots. Otherwise, China is going to be China, and of course, US is going to be a major player in Afghanistan in the near future. So
Hmm.
this is what Surya, how we can discuss about India's role if you so desire.
General, prior to the Taliban taking over, India had invested close to $3 billion in Afghanistan. And when the Taliban took over, the entire impression gained ground that whatever India had invested in all these years was now gone. There was nothing further to it. Now, you're saying with the Americans coming back and the Chinese also there, and India must now step forth and invest a lot more. Is this where is this going really? I mean, the you look at the Taliban; they haven't changed. They are a terror group. There are all kinds of terror groups over there, and maybe they're only biding their time.
Surya, some facts. Firstly, you made a statement about the Indian investments and have
Yeah.
they gone waste? I would say they have not gone a waste. Reason being, India is the most admired, most loved country in Afghanistan, followed by Turkey. China is nowhere, and Pakistan is the most hated. So that is to our advantage. The people of Afghanistan today value India as a trusted friend, trusted ally, and they also want to come back to India for medical treatment because Indian medical treatment is one of the best, and it turns out to be very cheap for them rather than going to Pakistan and getting a third rate treatment there, and of course fake medicines they have been getting. So our investments have not gone waste. We have earned the honor, the friendship of the Afghan people, and that I can vouch. Afghans stand by India. You go today any part of the world, you meet Afghan and you tell them you're from India, you can see how respectful and friendly he becomes. The second question is Taliban. Taliban today is a reality. Let's face it. No one in the world can dislodge them. And Americans have realized that. And today, let me tell you, Russian embassy with a proper ambassador is functional there. Iran embassy, Chinese embassy, every embassy is functioning. Now, what is our reluctance? Our reluctance has been that we can be threatened by Pakistani agents over there the way we have been. I think now the times have changed. I have been in touch with some Afghans. You know what they tell me? Corruption has been rooted out.
Hmm.
Two, security is extremely good. You can travel to any part of Afghanistan. There are checkposts, but there is no killings and no bomb blast. When I was there, practically every day there were bomb blasts, despite the American and the NATO support there. So what I'm trying to say, Taliban is a reality. The people of Afghanistan has accepted them, and therefore this is what America is not doing in Doha to pressurize Taliban in some manner, so that they have a broad-based government, have some more good people inside the administration. Maybe women. Women is of course disputable, and over a period of time, why Taliban also wants to be recognized, because then once they are recognized, they'll get money. So the trade, commerce, everything will start. So I have a feeling that within these 6 to 8 months, you will find a big change. Taliban being recognized, a broad-based governance being there, and it
Hmm.
would be to our national interest for the Indians. So Taliban is a reality. Our assets, whatever India has done, has not gone wasted at all. In fact, people realize the today Taliban is using of the same parliament. The dam in Herat, the people are getting benefited. So nothing is lost. In fact, we can talk about it that we can do now more, because people of Afghanistan want us, and they do not somehow are interested more in America or more in China. For them, number one priority is India, and of course the least and the hated people, the least priority and the hated people are Pakistanis.
So there is this reported challenge that the ISIS is doing, Islamic State. We had some blasts here and there, attacks on Shia mosques and so on. Is it that much of a threat?
See, as regard the attacks on the Shia mosque is concerned, I would say the Pakistan is playing the role. Pakistan intent is very, very clear to divide the Taliban or the people of Afghanistan into this Shia Sunni factions. This has not happened. Even the day I had landed in Afghanistan, I remember Ashura Day. Sorry, not the day I landed. In the next year, Ashura Day, there were 70 people, Hazaras were killed, who were the Shias.
Yeah.
Yet I have seen the beauty in Afghanistan is, despite the world may feel the four tribes over there. Of course, the others are in a little minority, the Tajiks, etc. The
Yeah.
Pashtuns are, of course, the majority, about 42%. But despite that, I have not seen that kind of problem, including in the Afghan National Army. There were people from all the tribes over there. So this is definitely not going to be a major problem. It will be resolved because Taliban today knows that they have to take their country forward, and they know that they have got American who can support them. The American money can come, and they know themselves that they have got $1 trillion worth mineral reserves. If tomorrow, if this happens, Afghanistan can become a country like Dubai. So they know everything, and probably they are playing their cards well, and that is why they are having trade relationship with Iran, with China, with Russia. Now they will open up with the United States, and of course India is going quite slow. Perhaps we have to now think about our strategy, what we need to do, the way developments are going on.
I want to ask you about the Haqqanis. The US recently, a couple of weeks ago, lifted the bounty on the one of their leaders' heads. I'm not sure which Haqqani it is.
Sirajuddin.
And I think Surajuddin
Yeah.
or is it Jalaluddin?
Sirajuddin.
One of them. And there are reports of divisions between the Haqqanis and the Kandahari Taliban. I mean, can you explain these two?
See, you're very true that these reports of divisions were there even way back in 21 August when the Taliban had taken over. And that is how the Pakistan ISI chief had gone to exploit this situation. Today it is 3.5 years, almost 3.5 years.
Yeah.
They have not divided. So this shows that they have accepted the necessity of having a combined governance between the Kandharis, Pashtuns, and of course with the Haqqani. Now, why this bounty has been removed? Because Haqqani today, his father was Jalaluddin Haqqani, who was instrumental in targeting the Indian embassy and
Yeah.
American interests there. Sirajuddin Haqqani today is the interior minister, and two of his cousins, their bounty has also been removed. So what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say is Haqqani is trying today to show a little soft approach by even talking about the women coming to the mainstream and the education, and Akhundzada is against it.
Yeah.
This is what exactly is happening now in Doha peace talks. Americans are pressurizing, and that is how I think he's made a statement, President Trump, that you give us all the weapons back, which is impossible because they are
Yeah.
a looted booty. It's not returned.
Yeah.
So these are all pressure tactics. This 10% tariffs is also pressure tactics. So I think there will be a proper reconciliation between the Haqqanis and, of course, the Kandahar Taliban, led by Akhundzada. I think they have existed for 3.5 years, so there has been no problems. So I feel that the governance would be more enlarged. And I think as regard the American interest is concerned, you're very right. The ISK threat is there, and this is exactly why again they want to come back so that they have their intelligence assets. They can keep a trail or track about all these ISK people, and this is exactly what ISK actually Pakistan is trying to play. They want to have this continuity of Al Qaeda and ISK also to target the Shias because they want
Mhm.
division within the Afghan community in terms of Shia Sunni, which will never happen. So Pakistan's strategy is actually going to fail, and I think America, the way not they are planning to come back, I think it seems it augurs well for Afghanistan, and I really don't see any division between Akhundzada and Mr. Sirajuddin Haqqani. The fact that he is the home minister and survived for 3.5 years, and I think they will sail through very, very well. And people are happy, mind you. People are telling there is no corruption, there is no security issue. So common people in Afghanistan are fairly happy. Of course, money is an issue, and which if Americans recognize them and they come and the recognition is there, I think then the money will also start flowing.
Mhm. We have a problem with the Haqqanis, or we did, when the embassy was targeted and the DA was killed, including another diplomat, so many others. We appear to be now looking beyond that. Would you say that's true?
Yeah, I think India should not look beyond that. See, certain things, it's a past history. Yes, history always lessons have to be learned. But today we have to see our national interest. For India, the strategy is only two. We can only have two options. One is either we enter the race and run the race, or
Hmm.
either we sit down in the stands and watch the race. Today, the race is already going on. The Russians, the Iranians, the Chinese, they are in a big way in Afghanistan. Taliban is a reality. The diplomatic establishments of these countries are functional. America is shortly going to recognize them, and they are also going to come back to Afghanistan by opening their embassies and consulates. So they are all running the race, and in the race, as on date, the major player within shortly would be America and China. Pakistan also is trying to run a race in some manner in Afghanistan, but India is just watching it silently. Now it is high time we have to enter this race, and I feel the way to enter for India is, see, in the strategic realm, Afghanistan is very, very important for us. After all, what
Yeah.
is advantage? What is advantages to us in Afghanistan? Number one, we are the most liked and loved country in the world, the amongst the Afghans. That is one. Secondly, our acceptability and friendship is very, very good, and we have been trusted neighbors. Now, I think rather than always calling the Pakistan factor, we should get over this Pakistani factor. We should start looking at the larger interest. Now, the larger interest is, firstly, going northwards. Afghanistan is, of course, important to us. Our business trade can flourish there. We can have a lot of trade there. Private partners can go there. The minerals are there. So many things are there. You are aware during earlier government, the Haji Kak iron ore mines were given to us. The license were
Yeah.
given
Yeah.
to us. Nothing we
Yeah.
have done after that because of the situation. So today we have to have it. We have to start having business. Then I would also say strategically, in Tajikistan, we had a Aini air base. I think we have closed down. That is what the inputs come. We need to
Hmm.
revive that air base because our drawback in Afghanistan today is, Surya, it is only connectivity. We don't
Yeah.
have direct connectivity. And China also does not have a direct connectivity. That is why they're going through Wakhan and they're trying through Peshawar to go to Kabul by train and rail connectivity. United States does not have a direct connectivity. So earlier, when they were there, their stuff was also coming through the northern routes from Russia, Baltic countries, and through Russia and through Central Asian republics. But the bulk of it was going through Pakistan.
Pakistan. Yeah.
Now we have got a connectivity through Iran, the Chabar port, what we are having. And another thing which I'm looking at the longer run, the POK, which is part of us, if we are bordering with Pakistan, so with Afghanistan, we have 100 kilometers of a border with Wakhan corridor. I think this is going to be something in the long run, which perhaps
Hmm.
the people of POK and Gilgit Baltistan, if they revolt and they align with India, I see the SIPEC being cut off. This is again to a national interest. So, Aini airbase, this connectivity with what we have with Wakhan corridor, Chhabar, the north-south corridor, that is also going to help the Americans, and we are the country which today can start telling the Americans to have their direct connectivity, because if they also want to have mineral resources and critical mining, etc., they have to
Yeah.
have an entry. And for them, the best entry is through Chhabar. The other option is Pakistan, and that's what I was telling you. Pakistan will also now enter the race. They will try to
Hmm.
placate United States and tell them we are the best routes of entry, and we have got this Godar and the Khyber, pass and the Chaman pass, and we will get you enrolled. So this is where today India has to be more, I would say, ahead. We have to be strategic in our thinking. Start discussing this with the United States in all possible forums. The Afghan territory is very, very important to us, and we have to also undermine the Chinese influence over there. And maybe another thing I feel, Pakistan, American strategy also could be in the long run. See, they have had 20 years of experience in Afghanistan. They have
Yeah.
assets. Tomorrow, they can also, in time of their own choosing, can start causing problems within the Uyghur area of Xinjiang.
Yeah.
They can spread the Islamic insurgency there. So
Yeah.
everything is possible. America can do anything, but India today can have trade and development and connectivity. And I think foremost we should do this recognition of Taliban, or at least if not recognition, we can do that later. First and foremost, we need to have our embassy functional, full-fledged embassy. Let us start giving visas to Afghan business people. We verify them. Let the business start flourishing in India and in Afghanistan. And I think otherwise, yeah, I'll go back to your question. Whatever investment we have made, if we keep sitting in the stands and not doing anything and not participate in this, then all those hard work and labor and assets which we have done, then Surya, they will go a waste. So it is high time India needs to be very proactive and take leap forward immediately. First and foremost, let's re-establish their embassy there. We are not going to be threatened by Pakistan. Now Pakistan is being targeted by Afghan Taliban. So
Yeah.
when they are
Yeah.
targeted, so why we should not be afraid, and we have to take some bold decisions and bold risks in the national interest.
So, last question. Do you think we should be working with the US together in Afghanistan?
Yeah, absolutely right. I think with the US, there is a way. See, if you see amongst all the South Asian countries and including in the Asia Pacific, our tariffs have been fairly okay. 26%. Others have gone very, very high. Now, this all sends a message. So I think what and Trump realizes, he stated that Prime Minister Modi is my dear friend, and this again I feel by autumn, I think the ties would be much better even in the trade aspect, because initial 220-volt jolt President Trump has given to everyone, but India, the way we are doing our talks on trade, etc., I think we need to partner with America on in Afghanistan, and what these peace talks are going on. We can also try to have separate talks with the Taliban and maybe with uh, the US delegation there, Zalmay
Yeah,
Khalilzad.
yeah,
And I think some kind of connectivity we have to have with Americans, because everything, and let me tell you, today the Indian technology, the Indian manpower can be deployed in Afghanistan, and Americans also can work co-jointly with us. We can have joint ventures, not only joint ventures, we can have tri-ventures between us, between Taliban, or I would not use the word Taliban, between Afghanistan and between America. And this is how we can ward off the Chinese influence there jointly between America and between India. So we can play our role very, very smartly. We have to look for, I think the good example is what's happened recently after the Prime Minister visit to Sri Lanka. We had a
yeah,
UAE person also there in that, and it's a
yeah.
trilateral. So let's go for trilateral. We are making
Mhm.
Americans happy, we are making Afghans happy, and we'll achieve our aims also. So I think our asset is our manpower, our technical experience. Americans cannot bring their people. America can bring their good machines, good drilling machines. So it can be tri ventures, and we can do wonders there. And this idea we have to sell to Americans, and I'm quite sure Americans will buy this idea. I think Mr. Piyush Goyal, he's having a lot of trade talks. This idea also he can throw in, and
Yeah. Mm.
I think we have got a lot of advantage. We have to now only see timings matter. As on date, the timing matter. Let's enter the fray. Let's enter the race. And you rightly asked the question: should we? I would not use the word align. We can be partners with America and doing everything trilaterally in Afghanistan with the Afghan people.
General Meston, a lot of ideas there, a lot of perspective, and let's see which way India moves. As of now, of course, it seems to be playing it quiet, waiting for the scene to for the dust to clear. Depending on that, we'll get some sense as to where we are going in Afghanistan. Thank you very much, sir. Good speaking to you, and a great perspective from you.
Thank you, Surya. Interesting discussion. Thank you.
That's all we have for you on this discussion on the gist. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on social media. Thank you very much. Good day.